Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to our bold analysis. Have you noticed that recently the political activities in Mount Kenya that had been concentrated around the church have gone down? And why do you think that despite the fact that Deputy President for the last 4 years had enjoyed a cordial relationship with the men of the pulpit from the mountain, but at this critical moment where he will need them most, because he got entry in Mount Kenya through the religious leaders, his relationship with the men of the pulpit has gone down. Many will answer that question by telling you that the relationship was parasitic. Guys, subscribe to our channel, click the notification bell, and also like our video, and I can tell you that we are going to have an interesting show in this analysis. Today, the 8th of July, President Uhuru Kenyatta met over 2,000 church leaders from 21 counties. A majority of those counties are from Mount Kenya. That meeting was very significant because I analyzed in this channel some time back that there was a Sagana 4 that was loading. But if you also remember, there was a church leader who once mentioned that President Uhuru Kenyatta sent someone to him, or rather President Uhuru Kenyatta's handlers sent a Statehouse operative to him to consolidate the church leaders from Kiambu, and he refused. And according to him, it was because of supporting Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But then today, that shows you that whatever that pastor was saying, there was already a mobilization that was going on. And there have been videos, like if you can see the video that is playing there, some of the videos that were captured in that meeting. So quickly, I want to take you through some of the few deliberations from the Uhuru's meeting with the Statehouse meeting with the men of the religious leaders from Mount Kenya, and again where there is much of that focus. And I want us to mention that the President Uhuru Kenyatta took an issue defending why he was willing to relinquish power. And in that conversation, he's saying that yes, it is true, as the way William Ruto was saying, that he was willing to leave power. But he says that he said there that he was willing to make that decision because he would not afford to see another bloodshed that was going on. So that is his response to William Ruto's criticism that President Uhuru Kenyatta is weak, and that's why he wanted to relinquish power to Raila Odinga. Now, one of the pastors also took an issue, and if you want to see that some of these meetings are not really, yes, they are peace, and there is the way it is choreographed as a religious and peace event, but of course politics must always find its way in there. One of the pastors, when campaigning for Raila Odinga, mentioned and tried to face, or rather neutralize, this statement from Rigathi Gachagua that Raila Odinga is so old and President Uhuru Kenyatta is disrespecting the region by fronting a 78-year-old man to succeed him. And there is a statement that is saying that God anointed Moses when he knew that Moses was a stammerer. That was by Bishop Muya. So those are some of the sessions that will also come out there. But there is a question that the president asked there, and I just want to magnify it and also ask maybe special viewers from Mount Kenya, that all this, and president was taking an issue with insults that Deputy President and Moses Kuria and the team had invested a lot of energy in attacking and insulting Mama Ngina a woman who has never vied for any elective position in this country. And so that meeting was to paint a picture for the Mount Kenya region on the issue of Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. But then my intel tells me that there are 3 churches, 2 from Nyeri and there is also another one from Kirinyaga. They attended that meeting in Statehouse, and these were pastors that were close to Deputy President William Samoei Ruto. So this is why this meeting was very effective in terms of achieving its objective. I think if you look at Mount Kenya, there are those 3, the leaders, the Gitonga, the Mudamakis, and the church. But the church plays a very critical role, and that is why you cannot underscore their role in this election. But I want you to listen to a video recording that I captured there, and of course I'm going to give you a translation. Then listen to it, as also look at, I've tried to get someone to translate it for us, because it's making it's the greatest pointer to what the president wanted to achieve with that meeting. Have a listen.
Ona America wena goro, ona Canada wena goro, ona kula kuku wena goro. Tia kwenda kuhujagia tuhujie to hau gawanyo gecha kitu hiki. Noma kona wako wena kai kupoja kamure bamuna. Gawadi kelia. Nia ndo hakora wewe mbele ya ndwali oratongoria wako wewe mbele. Chui karaga hau muthiro kana na hau ta biruri. Koguo muno maundu mani getha muteithia tukinya makanitha. Ndarore mo mateithia te economy ithukite bururi bugima na thĩ yothe na hatiri handu hamwe hena thayo. Kuria ndaiguire makiuga America. Ndaiguire makiuga America atiriri. Biden no muhakani. Tondu Biden niwe mwene mathina maya. Kuria kuge marego. No ne maramenya atiriri. Biden tiwe thina. Aria marauga Biden niwe thina ni aria mari thina wa opposition. To no mwaka moiga guo nigetha mundu utathomaga news etikie siasa cia maheni. Hello. Rĩu ithuĩ rĩrĩ wakura citũ nĩtũgaikia mweri 9. No ithuĩ tũhanĩtio ta rĩrĩ. Tũhanĩtio ta mũirĩtu ũrahikio. Nĩtũkũgũrĩra ndege, nĩkagũrĩra nguo ya kĩuruto. Tamutumia mwajerire atiriri. Niĩ reke ngwĩre mũndũ ũyũ wakwa tondũ ũrona ahikirie. Ahenirie akehenia. Wathiĩ gwake niĩ ndakorire atĩ ũrĩrĩ nĩtũmĩte twekeretwo tũkinywo mwaka-inĩ atĩ nĩguo tũkenjerwo tũtuge nĩho twakomire.
So, ladies and gentlemen, that is just a snippet of one of the bishops speaking in that meeting. So from there, you can see a deliberate strategy, or rather a new strategy by President Uhuru Kenyatta to use the pastors to talk to the voters of Mount Kenya region. Because since what they have realized is that the standard of living, or rather the inflation in this country that has been witnessed in this country, is one that has created anger in the general public. Now, that anger and already established venom in Mount Kenya by Pro-Ruto team, the Gede Gachagua and the Hustler movement team, it's what is working against President Uhuru Kenyatta, and that is why you will really see that there is a lot of hate meted on the president. And if people are going to vote in this election and they try to think of Raila working with Uhuru Kenyatta, then they really see Raila as someone who is not the right candidate for them. So you can see that what is really happening here is they want to use the church to go back to the communities and speak to people, talk to people about the role of the church, or rather explain to people about the issue of inflation. Many have argued is, if you look at different regions in Luo, in Makueni, or rather in let's say Nyanza coast, compared with the northeastern, the Rift Valley, where is it that central Kenya is normally so much different and there is a very strong fabric of the church in Mount Kenya. This meeting was coming at a time when we all know that there is another peace caravan that is traversing Mount Kenya region with peace prayers, but of course to some extent it's just another extension of a rally, or rather it's just an extension of campaigns. And there have been so much debate about whether that team is really preaching peace or they're campaigning for a particular candidate in the region. So, and even if you listen to the part of the proceedings there, you'll realize that there are already some distinct lines that are drawn, where some bishops are saying that those who maybe are supporting deputy president, they're alone on that move. This is a team that I think President Uhuru Kenyatta is committed to see how he can get a chunk using the church. This is very important. In Mount Kenya, someone was just telling me that the Akorino faithfuls alone are in the tune of 1 million. The Akorino alone are in the tune of 1 million, even though there is an element of division. But they are so close to President Uhuru Kenyatta, and they have worked with President Uhuru Kenyatta in his 2 terms. They worked with the president. They were so close with the father, the founding father, Jomo Kenyatta. And it is one of the churches that was formed pre-independence. During the fight for independence, Akorino Church was involved in there. Now, because of those numbers, I want to see, I can make an observation that the president is seeing some specific voting constituency in Mount Kenya. By the way, what is happening is that for Raila Odinga's strategy, it's not going for everyone. Going for the senior citizens, trying to get a chunk from the women through Matakarua. Now the president trying to get a chunk from the people that are so much inclined into the church, or rather through the Akorino faithfuls, and just using the church as a fabric. And you cannot underestimate this, because in Mount Kenya, there is what many people will tell you is a society breakdown. The society breakdown has been occasioned by, you will hear these stories of single mothers, maybe the husbands passed on some time back. Some of them are descendants of Mau Mau, and their lives are miserable. So there is a lot of stuff. Now, what is making, what is holding the society together? The societal fabric for Mount Kenya women is the church. They go to church. When there is a problem, when there are land issues, even with back home with their sons, the only call for resort is the church. So that shows you the way it's a very strong fabric. I remember a friend was telling me that their parents died some time back, but they still pay their tithe to that church to date. It's there. That is a very strong fabric. And if you can win the church in Mount Kenya, then you have your way. You're really going to tilt a lot. So, because the church is a fabric. But then look at it. I see the clergy in this election as the middlemen. They're the middlemen. I listened to Deputy President yesterday night on an interview in KTN News saying that some bishops tried to get a reconciliation between the president and his deputy, but President Uhuru Kenyatta blatantly refused. You see the role they play. So you see a church playing advisory council and mediating a middle ground between the Mudamakis, with the President Uhuru Kenyatta, now the Njambas, the Warriors, and the Gitongas, the business community. So it is through the church that you bring all these groups together and reason. If they go, they can talk to, if a CEO of a company like Britam or any other company is called by a man from a church in Nyeri, big church in Nyeri or Kenyaga, that person, that CEO will obey that invitation, because they know that that is one of the issues, that's one of the platforms that they used to talk to their people. Ruto toned down on spending on those pastors. And of course, perhaps that was because of IBC regulations. The election is almost going to its home stretch. He might have realized that to some extent now he need to look for other audience, or rather he need to meet other voters. But because the relationship, and I started by saying that because his relationship between him and the men of the clergy, majorly to some Mount Kenya churches, it was parasitic. It reached a moment where now he didn't have the blood that wale wangenyonya. He now went dry. The bones were dry. And now it is the moment that it's not about the money, but come, let's sit down and reason together. Raila Odinga, I think, was using that phrase during the BBI campaign. So I think it's a moment where now people are sitting down to reason together. Initially, it was, let's follow this, when it says this, we do this. But then, that is something that is happening. Ladies and gentlemen, what is your stake on President Uhuru Kenyatta now meeting the church in what many people are seeing as campaigns, but are they influential?